Good afternoon. I'm Karen Holmes Ward. Welcome to Cityline. Later in the program, from crisis to comedy in these difficult times, is laughter the best medicine? First, it's reported that more than 3 million refugees have left Ukraine. But even as the exodus began weeks ago, some refugees discovered that their escape would be hindered by the color of their skin. Before the Russian invasion, they had been studying medicine in Ternopil, Ukraine. Then they decided to head south and get out via Romania. But Adetomiwa Adindi and Amachim Steve Ajufo tell Zane Asher they faced traumatic experiences at the border and were heartbroken to see what's happening in the place they had spent so many years.
My feet were hurting. I could barely walk, but I kept pushing every second.
I just lost hope that I'm not going to be able to cross this.
Born in Nigeria, 24-year-old Adetomiwa Adeniyi and 17-year-old Amamchim Steve Ajufo were both studying medicine in Ukraine when Russia's invasion began. Their lives in danger, each fled to the Siret crossing on the Ukrainian-Romanian border. They say what they experienced there was both unfamiliar and traumatic.
Initially, there were several lines, or I think the best way to say it, 3 lines, in which there was one seemingly for the Ukrainians, one for the Indians, and then the Africans were also set aside. I wondered why it should be like that. We're all trying to get out.
I accidentally, actually it was an accident on my part, went to the Ukrainian side. Instantly they told me to go to my side.
Do you think that there was a level of bias or a level of discrimination based on skin color as to who was being treated better at the border, who was being, getting preferential treatment in terms of admittance?
If you were Ukrainian, for instance, or maybe another nationality, but you were white, it's almost as though you go a fast track to the front of the gate.
Growing up in Nigeria, growing up in an all-black country, having never experienced any racism ever before, did you understand what was happening and why you were being set aside?
I cried twice. I cried when I was in front and the border officials kept screaming, "Go back, go back." I was just so tired and I was exhausted and I cried. I cried a whole lot because I was cold and I did not understand what was going on. I wanted to give up several times, but I kept reminding myself of my mom.
Eventually, Adetomiwa and Amamchim managed to pass into neighboring Romania. Once they arrived in the capital, Bucharest, they flew back to Nigeria, a place that hadn't been their home for some time.
Has it fully sunk in that you may not, at least anytime soon, get to go back to Ukraine?
I refuse to believe it. It breaks my heart every time I think about it. Every time I see news that somewhere else has been bombed or someone else has died, I'm angry that my home was snatched from me. That's one. And second, I've been traumatized.
It's my home, I would say. We almost spent 6 years there. We don't know. We don't know what's next.
And the humanitarian crisis in Ukraine has pulled the curtain back on underlying issues of racism and discrimination for immigrants from Africa, India, and other people of color who call Ukraine home. NAACP National Board Member and Chairperson of the Board's Advocacy and Policy Committee, Michael Curry, joins us now to talk about what's going on in Ukraine. So, Michael, we just heard from these Nigerian students, medical students, about their experience in trying to leave Ukraine. How did this issue come into the spotlight, and what have you heard?
Yeah, so I have the honor and privilege of chairing the National Board's Advocacy and Policy Committee, and that committee is made up of all the different subject matter areas: criminal justice, housing, education, including international affairs. So our organization, national organization, was flooded with complaints and concerns about what was happening in Ukraine, and particularly with those immigrants, those Africans, those people of Asian descent that were not being allowed to leave the country, that were being forced to find alternatives to get out of the country, and were quite frankly being brutalized. And then we all turned our televisions on, our social media, and saw that up close, that the beatings, the displacement, the disparate treatment that was happening. So I think it prompted the national organization to weigh in right away.
And so this was not only people trying to get into Poland, but it was from Ukrainians who were not letting these folks leave. Is that correct? Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's clearly a situation where folks, and just recognizing the plight of Ukrainians, I think is the important part, that they are, their sovereignty is under attack by the Russian government. That being said, discrimination and racism plays out even in the midst of war. We've seen it in this country, we've seen it in other countries, and we're now seeing it in Ukraine. They're being denied the opportunity to leave equally in the same way that white Ukrainians, it is predominantly a white country that enticed many African nations and others to come in and take advantage of their schools and their opportunity because the economy needed them, and then turned around and then treated them in a horrible manner when it was time to flee the country due to war.
So the NAACP has joined with other organizations to officially call out this behavior. Tell us what the NAACP is involved in.
Yeah, so immediately we were talking as an organization around what our role should be of weighing in. And the European Union is the key entity that we talk about when we weigh in on abuses across the globe. And in particularly, we talked to the European Commission, the new, relatively new president of the European Commission, and we sent a letter March 9th to the European Commission urging them to weigh in. We know that they have a policy agenda within the European Union, and we need them to take policy to practice. We know that there are international treaties, there's a common law, there are protections that should exist for these immigrants of color that are not happening, and then our letter is appealing to the European Union and the European Commission to weigh in.
We want to turn to a separate issue, but maybe related. WNBA star Brittney Griner has been detained in Russia for weeks. Russian authorities claim that they found vape cartridges on her person that contained traces of hashish oil. Is there any update on her situation? And do you see that these two incidents, that this is connected in any way?
Yeah, I mean, one is just understanding the geopolitical nature of all this stuff, right? That there are wars that manifest in different ways, right? There's the technology wars that are going on right now, the fake news that's happening, and Russia played a part even in our most recent presidential election. And then you have the individual wars that take place with people who are living in other countries, in this case, Russia, and they become objects of that war. Her detainment is going to, at least as of recent news, be prolonged through May. I saw Hillary Clinton weighed in, which I was glad to see, saying free Britney. And I think that we, civil rights organizations and others will be weighing in as well, trying to make sure that our president and this administration takes this seriously.
Of course, in our system of government, she is innocent until proven guilty. But Brittney has played women's basketball in Russia for 7 years.
Right.
Why now? Do you think that her race and her lifestyle choice have in any way played into this as well? I
mean, we know, again, part of what happens in these countries, they lure you because they need you, right? And Russia would be no example. They need an athlete. They need athletes, American athletes, other athletes across the globe to bring them the glory. I know, she's a phenomenal athlete. I think averaged 13 point something per game. From all indications of folks who know her, a phenomenal person. But yet her lifestyle and her color became the object of Russian targeting. And now she's being detained. She's not the first, right? We know these stories. They trump up charges, they detain you until there's some negotiations behind the scene. We just need to make sure that we're lighting a fire under the governments that need to weigh in.
Okay. Up next, Congress has finally passed an anti-lynching bill. The significance of the legislation when Michael Curry, NAACP National Board member, continues with us next on City.